What's up folks, welcome back to another episode of Street Notes. Today, as usual, I'm out shooting with the Fujifilm X100V, but this time I'm using a different film simulation recipe. It's based on Kodak Ektar. I found it on the Fuji X Weekly blog, and I'll put a link in the description below, so if you like the colours, you can give it a try yourself. Now I'm always shooting in the same sort of area around Denver. The downtown area tends to be the busiest, so I just go for that. This first shot, little warm-up shot, it's not very good, but you've got to start somewhere. I'm always shooting in this same area because it's the busiest part of Denver, but also the more I shoot here, even though it's the same place, I still seem to get different shots each time, and it really depends on different people passing through the same areas and the light changing dramatically from one day to the next whenever I'm here. And because of that, I'm always able to find sort of new compositions and different ways of trying to shoot the same area, or sometimes just areas that have never looked good before or had anything interesting in them suddenly have something interesting going on. For example, this spot here is the first time I've really seen some interesting light and shadow sort of thing happening here, and I got this shot. This is my first successful shot of the day. This looks like the kind of shot that might do well on Instagram because it's got that sort of silhouette look that a lot of people go for. It could maybe be better if there was some kind of gesture in there, but I kind of still like it. This next shot I think I could have took my time with a little bit more and maybe tried to frame it better or something, but I just quickly shot it as I was going past. I thought it was funny that this guy's phone he'd like started to charge his phone on the Christmas lights wrapped around the tree. After a while I realised that there was only certain spots of light that were really good, so I tried to find somewhere that I could just post up and kind of hang out, hoping for something to happen. And in this particular intersection there was a fair amount of people passing through, so I sat here for a while and just waited for like the flow of streets to like pass through in front of me. I didn't see this guy coming, and he just sort of walked into my frame in this Patriot shirt, but he had a dog there as well, which I wish I'd got in the photo. But I kind of like this, not exactly sure why, but I knew that this area or scene had something more interesting to give, I guess. This bus comes along and there's people coming out, and I got this one here, and I liked this one for the way this woman with the curly hair at the front was just kind of looking out of the frame there, and then there's this woman in the middle who'd passed through, and her hair kind of matches the colour of this other woman's jacket. And then the bus just adds this nice bright pop of colour, and there's something I like about this frame. It's kind of balanced. This was good. I quite like it. This intersection here, I could see this beam of light passing through there, and the rest of the intersection was mostly in this big massive patch of shadow. So I thought I'll post up here for a while and fish for some shots. There was a good amount of people coming through, and it's a little bit tighter of an intersection because there's a seating area at the side. This first one with this girl passing through with the coffee, not a great shot, but it made me realise that there was a good light and shadow potential. So I hung around here for a bit longer. This guy pops through with his dog. You can't see because of my arm. The downside of this is I don't know what I did differently this time, but my arm keeps blocking the frame. You can see the dog there. He'd just been shaking himself off, so I got him in this mid sort of shake movement, which I thought was funny looking, and I like the light. This intersection does turn into something really good, and it's as this family here who are walking along and I think trying to decide what way they want to go. And this bus comes along as well, and they all just start moving just at the right time. As they step into that shadow and light area, that woman makes a gesture up 16th Street, and just as the bus is passing behind them as well. So we've got the bus kind of blocks out the frame there, the back of the bus is in the light and it's red, the kids' pants are red, There's a little girl in between them there whose jacket is red as well. Would have been nicer if we could see her a bit more, but it's good how it is. The mum's gesture makes the entire thing, and the dad is actually gesturing with his pinky finger, which is a detail that I really like there. I hung around here a bit longer for more people to pass through the frame. This one came, I don't really like this one. This one's sort of okay, but again, it's not good enough. Doesn't quite hit that mark. I switched to the other side, so I was leaning against the fence on the opposite side there, and this other little family comes past me, and they came past pretty close. I shot from the hip here and got this little girl doing this gesture, and what I liked here was the colours. So she's wearing this like pink jacket, and it contrasts nicely with the colour of the sky. I like that her little sister, I guess, is in the frame down in the bottom right there, and I also kind of like that it's not just a picture of their faces, so they're not really readily identifiable, and that makes me feel slightly better about that. So after about 10 or 15 minutes of that intersection, I decided to move on. I didn't think I was going to better the two shots that I got, and I'm glad I did, because walking down towards Union Station, I have walked past here almost every time that I've been in Denver, and I've never seen anything interesting happening or a scene that I liked at this shop on the left. And just at the end I thought, oh, I'll give this a go, put this red umbrella in the front of the frame and this guy in this red shirt on his own in the back, and I'm really glad I did. Even my eye couldn't properly get to the viewfinder because I tangled my left hand up in my camera strap and I couldn't quite see it properly. But this, I think, might be one of my favourite pictures of the year. I love that dark negative space around the edges of the frame. I like that the guy is kind of small in the background, but he's framed by that patch of light just behind him, and then there's this white door that separates him from that red umbrella, and it just kind of blocks off the frame. I guess maybe it could have been better if there'd been something down in the bottom right, or maybe something else interesting there, but other than that, I love this frame. I'm really happy with it. At this point I'd met up with Rudy, and he told me about this dance party that was happening on one of the bridges, so we went back up, and here we have a whole bunch of people doing a Mexican wave with a sign to get people to honk, because they said it said honk F 2020, and a lot of cars were honking. So we photographed this for a little while, and it was such an interesting event to happen, and I particularly like this one. It's got the whole scene in there. The bridge has this nice sort of vanishing perspective, and just these people having fun, and it was just a good vibe to end 2020 with. Eventually we decided to move on from there, and this is us back at Union Station, passing past this family just kind of chilling in front of this float thing. And I wish I took time to frame this a little bit better. I left too much space over on the left hand side of the frame. And then over on Larimer Square, we like to walk past this, whatever it is, like outdoor seating area. This road's always been closed off. I'm not even sure if it's ever open to traffic. But there was this, is it Elf from the movie? And this guy just like solemnly checking his phone on the left hand side, and he just kind of looked like bummed out while this elf inflatable thing was looking extremely happy. Tried to make something with this deer as well, tried to kind of make it a foreground element in the frame, and maybe something interesting would have passed through, but after standing here for a few minutes it was clear that very little was going to happen passing through the frame around this. This spot, we saw this person in a whole red sweatsuit. I thought this woman's hat was going to show up more in the corner of the frame, but it did not. However, I do sort of like this frame. The person in the red sweatsuit sticks out a bit. I wish maybe his bag hadn't been there and then you could see his red pants as well. This frame, I'm not saying this is a good frame or is anything near the quality of it, but it reminds me of a Joel Meyerowitz shot. And I think that's a bit of a stretch to compare any of my pictures to Meyerowitz, but that's the kind of vibe I get from it anyways. It's another intersection. One of the things about Denver in the wintertime is that all these intersections on 16th get all of the good light, so you almost have to kind of hang around in these spots to get anything in good light, otherwise everything's going to be in shadow. And these didn't really work out, but I don't like hate them just because the light is so good. This last one, if anything, was probably the best one because of all the shadows that are sort of lined up in a row between the two people. So I don't know what I did to the GoPro this time. I changed something, I selected a different preset setting, and all the footage looks 10 times better than it has done in the past. It's not as flat anymore, it's got some contrast, and I like it. So I will keep it on that setting going forward, and hopefully that looks better for everybody else. Also, sorry about my arm being in front of the GoPro so much. I don't know what I did differently because it was in the same spot that it normally is. Maybe I just need to be a bit more conscious of it. I want to take a second to thank anybody who has supported me on buymeacoffee.com. It's helped me to pay for gas and for parking, and it's very much appreciated, especially in these times. And I hope that in doing that I have been able to give back some value so that you've been able to draw something from my videos as well. Now that we're into 2021, I'm starting to work on my 2020 zine, which I guess maybe in a few weeks, month or so, I should have ready, and I will put it up for sale. Other than that, thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!